Hey guys, Coach Pippin here from Pippin Performance, and welcome to the Fit Project, your weekly workouts designed to help you be strong, be mobile. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel below to get the latest workouts as they're posted. Today we're going to get you ready to hop on your bike and enjoy the open road. I have my friend Catherine here with me, who is an avid cyclist. Whether you're a long distance cyclist or you enjoy going to spin classes, being on a bike puts you in some unusual positions for an extended amount of time. So let's build up our strength and prepare our bodies to withstand this. The only equipment needed is a pair of dumbbells, a resistance band, mini bands, and a bench or a chair. Today's workout includes scapular protraction, loaded thoracic extensions, reverse lunges, RDLs, Swiss ball leg curls, bent over rows, pull-off press with a little movement side to side, and then we're going to finish up with some mini band walks. So let's get started, guys. So first we're going to get into scapular protraction. So we're going to have Catherine lay flat on her back. We're going to grab a pair of pretty light dumbbells. So we're going to grab the dumbbells and we're going to hold them directly over our shoulders. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our body prepared for this position. So we're going to do a mild chin tuck. We're going to flatten our spine. Everything's nice and engaged, and our arms are going to stay straight the entire time. So from this position, we're just going to slowly try to drive the dumbbell straight up to the ceiling. You're only going to move like an inch or two here. We're going to pause there, and then we're going to slowly take the shoulders back down to the floor, keeping your arms straight the entire time. We're going to do about 10 reps here, so let's go. And up, and then now take the shoulders right back down. Now sometimes you'll get caught up and your shoulders will start to shrug a little bit toward your ears. Don't let that happen. Do a quick little check-in every 3 or 4 reps. Keep reaching up to the ceiling. And just keep going at your own pace. Good. Every once in a while, do a quick little check-in again with your abs. Where you're staying flat to the ground with your lower back coming up off. Good. Keep those arms straight. Sometimes we'll start to bend our arms and make us think like we have this bigger range of motion. It's not necessary. This is super, super subtle. What we're trying to do is get our scapula to go backward and forward. So when you're on the bike, you tend to just stay stuck there. We got to mobilize those scaps, get those guys moving and grooving a little bit. Looks good, looks good. It almost seems like she's not even doing anything here because her motion is only like 2 inches, and that's what we want. So super, super small. Good, looks good. Let's get 2 more, guys. Back up and down. Last one, let's squeeze out a little bit more range of motion, hold that end piece, and now backing down nice and slow. All right, go ahead and put those on the ground. So now we're gonna have you guys sit on the edge right here up against the bench. So now we're gonna get what's called loaded thoracic extension. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to mobilize that upper back. So we're gonna have our feet as close together as possible. If you're more mobile, the closer your feet are gonna be to your butt. Otherwise, I don't know, about a foot's probably pretty good. You're gonna try to squeeze your knees together. You're going to grab right above your chest, like you're almost giving yourself a bear hug. You're going to tuck your chin. This distance can't change, okay? So you get about 1 to 2 inches between your chest and your chin and your chest. Keep that distance. And now we're going to try to extend our upper back, almost hinging at this spot where it's hitting us on the bench. We're going to freeze right there, and then we're going to come back down. Once again, you're not going to move a whole lot on this. If you get more than 10 or 20 degrees, you are going way too far. You're really trying to just hinge at this spot. Go ahead and come on back. That's good there, and then back forward. If you start to feel this happen in your lower back, that means you're just extending too far. Really, we want to feel from where the bench hits you, and then all the way up just below the neck. Good. Keep going nice and smooth. Sometimes for a little bit more feedback, you can like hug a pillow, or you can even squeeze a med ball here. Whatever you want to do, just be sure of owning that upper back position. Once again, think about what cycling does. It puts us in this kind of forward posture here. That's okay, it's not a bad posture. We just got to combat that by making sure we're able to mobilize our spine on a regular basis. So if you know you're going to go out and hit the open road, you're going to go take a spin class, hop on the ground here, slide up against a bench or a chair or whatever you got, and just start hinging that pattern. Good, let's get 4 more. Good, keep breathing the whole time, keep squeezing those knees. The more tension you create in your abs and your legs, the more room your nervous system will allow you to get. Looks good, looks good. Once again, think about where your chin is. Is your motion coming from your chin or is it coming from your upper back? That's where we want to mobilize. Let's hold this last one here and then down nice and smooth. All right, next thing we're going to have her hop on up. We're going to face this direction. We're going to get into a reverse lunge. So we're going to start with the left leg. We're going to drop straight back. You're going to drop down. This is the leg that's doing stuff. This leg is kind of more the balance. We're going to drive through the heel, come back up, tap, and then go right back with that right leg. So, quick little check-in. Where are your scabs? Everything's nice and tall. Step back, drop straight down, pause, and now we're going to drive up and forward and come back to that starting position. You can tap if you need to, and then go right back to that same leg. Down, pause, and come on back up. Let's get 8 more of those. So your goal is to try to have a straight line between your trail knee, so right now would be your right knee, and your head. If you start to see a curve, that means you're not owning your spine here. Nice and smooth. The front leg does the work. Don't be tempted to push off with your back foot too much. You gotta do it a little bit to get back up, but you want all the pressure to come from that left foot. If you start to struggle with your balance a little bit, you can always hold on to something, you know, a foam roller, chair, bench, whatever you got. And now check in to see where that front knee is. Make sure it's pointed straight ahead or even a little bit to the outside. Try not to let it buckle in too much. Looks good. Driving through that heel of the front foot. Let's get 1 more to finish up. And drive on through. All right, shake that leg out and let's go to the other leg. So now we're going to screw our right foot in the ground and the left foot's going to be the one moving backwards. And let's get 10. Drop straight down, drive through the heel, and finish. So try to really own that front foot. It's going to have the tendency to kind of wobble back and forth. Think like big toe, pinky toe in the back of your heel. It's kind of your 3 points of contact. So if you really struggle with your balance, take a look down at your foot and see kind of what's going on with that guy. Looks good, looks good. So obviously in cycling, we got to be able to drive that leg down, especially if we're climbing up a hill. That's kind of why we chose lunges with this. Keeping those legs nice and strong, activating the hip and glute complex. Good. Let's finish up. 2 more. Nice and smooth. And last one. Excellent. All right. Now we're going to go into RDL. So we're going to pick up the dumbbells. And now we're going to get into a hinge. So RDL basically is a short for Romanian deadlift. So we're going to stand up nice and tall. Dumbbells are going to be by our pockets. And we're going to hinge and get into this bottom position. Now you'll notice my knee did not move. What you don't want to have happen is your knees doing this. Our legs are going to be decently straight. We're going to come down and pause, and then to finish, we're going to rip our hips forward, come up, squeeze our glutes, finish up nice and tall. So the first start with, think about where your chin is. Nice chin tuck. Wherever your sternum goes, that's where your eyes should go. So now we're going to slowly, without losing our pelvis, push our hips backwards. So nice and smooth. Chin stays down, chin stays down. Keep coming down. We're going to pause right there. If you are less flexible, you don't have to go down as far. You want to feel nice hamstrings, and now drive through the floor and finish your hips to the top. And perfect. Let's get 9 more of those. Nice and smooth. Hips back, pause, drive up nice and through. So this exercise is all about taxing the entire posterior chain. So you're going to feel engagement from the back of your head all the way down to your Achilles cord. The more hamstring, the more glute we get involved, we're bracing our abs. You get a whole lot here bang for your buck. Nice and smooth. Come up, finish those hips. So if you start to feel your lower back in this, it's not because it's a bad exercise. You're starting to lose your pelvic lumbar control. So you're probably sticking your butt out too much before you go. You're not keeping those abs engaged all the way down. If you want to start with this unloaded, you can just simply grab a foam roller and just work on that hinge pattern, come up, squeeze the glutes. Because in essence, what you're really doing is you're pushing your hips back, you're pushing your hips back forward. Let's get 2 more to finish. Looks good, looks good. Good, 1 more. Good, come up, screech, feel butt engaged, abs engaged, and relax. All right, let's go ahead and lay back on the ground. We're gonna go through those first 4 things again. Go lay flat. We're gonna get back to that scapular protraction. Grab the dumbbells. All right, let's establish chin tuck, flat lower back, feet are parallel, everything's nice and engaged. And now we're gonna reach those knuckles up to the ceiling and let them come right back down. Let's hit 10. Once again, this is gonna be a really, really short movement. There's not a lot going on here. I've never met anyone who's got a ton of scapular protraction ability, so if you go more than 2.5 inches, you've gone way too far, and you're starting to almost do like a crunch almost. Nice and smooth. Excellent, we're about halfway home now. Let's do a quick check. Where are your abs, where's your chin, everything looks good. And let's go right back up. So a good cue is almost act like you're just punching the ceiling. You're just reaching out, pulling it back in. Reaching out, pulling back in. Own your feet, make sure everything's nice and smooth. Don't have happy feet. Looks good, looks good. Let's get these last two finished up. And down, one more. And relax, perfect. All right, we're gonna sit at the edge or the end of the bench. We're gonna do that low thoracic extension. So once again, sit on the floor, scoot back. So if this bench is hitting you way too high up here, you can always put something under your butt. You can take a bumper plate, put a box, whatever you got. You just wanna kind of think a little above where the ribs kind of hit. So pull the feet in, feet together, knees are tucked. Give yourself a big bear hug, tuck that chin a little bit. And now let's hinge where that bench is hitting us in the upper back. We're gonna get 10 here. Once again, it's a very, very, very small movement. If you're going more than 10, 20 degrees, you are starting to use your lower back to extend instead of just your upper back. So if you can't get your knees together for whatever reason, you can always put a block under there. You can use a shoe, whatever. You just want to have something that you can squeeze against to create more tension. The tighter you keep your knees and the more you brace your abs, the less likely you're going to start to tap into that lower back. Everything's nice and smooth. Then do a quick little check-in. Where's your chin at? Are you starting to extend your neck instead of your upper back? Keep that thing, almost envisioning a tennis ball stuck in between your chest and your chin. Kind of keep that as a reference point. Looks good. Let's get 3 more here. And 2. Good, 1 more. Let's try to own that back position. This last one. Freeze and hold it, hold it, hold it. Keep breathing and slowly return to your starting position. All right, let's go ahead and hop on up. We're gonna get back in those reverse lunges. Stand right in front of the mat. So let's start on our left leg and let's reach back with that right leg, own that position, and then come back up. Drive up and through. And it's okay to have a little bit of a forward lean with lunges. Traditionally, we are taught to be more vertical, but it doesn't really matter. If you go forward, as long as you have that nice straight line between your trail leg, knee, and your head, that's kind of where you want to be. Good, we got 5 left here. Good, own that front foot. Make sure big toe, pinky toe, heel is all your 3 points of contact. Good, 2 left. And last one, nice and smooth, and drop. Good, switch feet. So sometimes you can have like a line kind of running in between your feet, so you make sure you're kind of stepping back at a straight point. Sometimes people have a tendency to go out to the left, to the right with that trail leg. Just try to keep everything in the same plane. Nice and smooth. Check in with that heel of the front foot. Sometimes we'll let that heel come forward because we like pushing through the ball of our foot more than our heel. Make sure the heel's doing all the driving. Looks good, looks good. Let's get these last 2 to finish up. Excellent. All right, let's get back to those RDLs. So, dumbbells by your sides. Tuck that chin a little bit, abs butt engaged, and now we're gonna hinge, keeping the knees still, legs slightly bent. Pause at the bottom, and now drive through the floor, finish those hips at the top. Excellent. Now, as you start to get a little bit more comfortable with this, you can start to move ballistically, kind of like Catherine was doing on the way up. Just make sure you own the position. Make sure everything's nice and good. Feel a big stretch in the hamstrings. Keep your abs engaged at the bottom, and as you come up, you should really feel your glutes and your abs engaged at the top. Try to almost finish as straight as humanly possible. Let's tuck that chin a little bit. There we go. Hinge, chin down. Good. Excellent. Keep your toes down here too. A lot of people they shift their weight, and the heels or the toes start to come up. Just make sure you got that 3 points of contact again, just like we talked about with lunges. Nice and smooth. Nice and smooth. Good, last one. Let's pause in that bottom position, feel those hamstrings, get a little shakes, and come up and finish. Perfect, I'll take those. All right, we're gonna get to the next part. So we're gonna have Catherine lay flat on her back, and we're gonna get the Swiss ball leg curls. So Swiss ball leg curls is all about flexing that knee. So we're gonna try to train specifically the back of the leg. So we're gonna have our feet right on top of the middle of the ball, arms down. So keep your arms down, use them for bracing. You don't have to put your arms up here, use it to kind of create more tension. So the first thing we want to think about is flattening that lower back. So we're tucking that pelvis, put us in a good position. We're going to pull the toes toward our shins. And now to start off with, drive your heels straight down to lift your butt up off the ground. So let's make sure we can own this position first. Now once you feel safe and comfortable here, do not lose the downward component of your heels, but now start to pull the ball toward you, not letting the hips move. We're going to pause our end position and then slowly come on out. So your legs are almost straight, and then take it back. We got 9 more for a total of 10. After every 3 or 4 reps, your feet kind of move on the ball, so go ahead and just drop your hips, reestablish if you need to, because the ball gets a little slick where your feet are. And don't let your hips go up and down. They should pretty much stay completely still. If you're more advanced with this, you can really get your hips up in the air, but let them stay there. Looks good. Let's get 4 more. If you start to feel your lower back, or you start to feel kind of cramped up, you've lost your tilt. Good. Let's get these last 2. Good. 1 more. We're going to pause in the back, come back. We're going to own that position, squeeze the hell out of your hamstrings, and now slowly let it on out. Perfect. And drop those hips. All right, come on up for me. So now we're going to get to a bent over row. So grab your dumbbells. So we're going to get back in that bottom position of those RDLs. So we're going to get back to here where we own this position, hands by our side, and we're just going to drive our elbows up and squeeze, and then back down slow. So get in that hinge position so we feel nice and safe. So right from here, we should feel good here. We should feel engagement all throughout the back of our legs, feel our abs, and now keep our elbows pretty close to our sides, and now act like you're driving your elbows up to the ceiling. Pause, and then back down to the starting position. Start pretty light here with this, guys. It's not like you're starting an old school lawnmower, so we don't want a whole lot of kind of jerking, rotating. We want to keep everything nice and still. The more flexible you are, the more bent over you'll be, but it doesn't really matter. Just find a place that you feel comfortable, and we're just trying to tax all this stuff in the upper back here. Looks good. Let's get 5 more. And 4. Do a quick little check when you get to the bottom. Make sure your abs are engaged, spine's nice and flat, chin's tucked. Wherever your stern's pointing, that's where your eyes should be. Last one to finish. And that's perfect. I'll take those guys. All right, so now we're going to get to a pull-out press with a little bit of movement. So if you're at home or you're at your gym, just hook the band around a post. I'm going to hold it for capsuling. So we're going to hold both handles in the same hands. You're going to face that way. Perfect. So what this is doing is we're trying to resist a whole lot of lateral movement, okay? So we're going to first start out, get a good grounded position, arms straight out ahead. The handle should be right in front of your sternum. Now from this position, we're going to do about a 10-degree rotation to our left, and then a 10-degree rotation to our right. So we're not getting crazy with this. Back this way, and then back to where we're perfect. We're going to go 10-inch way. It's a very subtle movement here though, because what's happening with the band is the band's wanting to pull her this way. So she's having to almost do anti-rotation with this. Nice and smooth. So if you think about it from a cycling perspective, when you get up off your seat and you start to rotate back and forth trying to generate more power, we need to have that control and that rotational piece. Plus this just turns our abs and our glutes on a whole lot more too. Looks good, keep breathing. Okay, everything's a nice, good power position. You should feel really, really stable here in your legs, hips, and core. Good. Let's go 1 more. And relax. We're going to switch positions. Don't get carried away with a crazy band here either. Grab something pretty light. This is a lot more difficult than it looks. So let's get everything set. Good engagement, shoulders down. And let's go 10 right, 10 left. Let's put that right there. No more than 10, 15 degrees. And the reason why we're only going about 15, 20 degrees is our spine's not meant to rotate that much. So if she's rotating from her lumbar, 10 degrees is probably going to be plenty. Now if we wanted to rotate all the way around, then we'd start getting our hips involved and our rotation from our feet. We're just trying to kind of almost mimic what you do on the bike. Good, nice and smooth, slower is better here. Good. 2 more. And last one. And relax, perfect. All right, let's get back to those Swiss ball leg curls. So head down here, butt on the mat. Feet back up on the ball. And let's get 10 again. So reestablish your position. Chin's nice and tucked. Arms driving in, legs are straight. Drive the heels. Come on up off the ground. Own that position, make sure you're good, you're stable, and now start to pull it in. Good, keep those hips perfectly still. Nothing is moving. And if you start to feel your calves more than the back of your legs, like your hamstring area, just pull your toes in a little bit. Sometimes we tend to point the toes, and it just makes the calves light up a little too much. That's good, let's get 5 more. Good, we're always driving our hands down. Some people think it's cheating, but you're actually just creating more tension. The more tension you create throughout your body, the better off you're gonna be. Looks good, looks good. Good, last one, let's get a good pause and hold the back. Hold right there, squeeze those hamstrings, and slowly come on out. Perfect. All right, go ahead and hop on up. Let's grab those dumbbells. And let's get back into those bent over rows. So let's see if we can get a little bit more hinge and hit a slightly different angle. So really stick those hips out, get nice and locked, hands right by the side or by the knees. So take your time getting into your hinge, own that position. Good, everything's good, and now drive the elbows straight up to the ceiling. So once you start, you shouldn't really see your torso move all that much. You should almost be perfectly still. The only thing moving is your elbows and arms. Looks good. Good, abs engaged. Your hips are what's supporting you here. It shouldn't be your lower back. If you feel your lower back, push those hips back a little bit more and turn those abs on. Looks good, looks good. All right, we got 3 left up to finish. Squeeze that back, 2 more. Good, and last one. Excellent, all right, I'll take those. All right, let's get back in that pull-off press. Grab the handles. All right, let's go 10 rotations. So get you that good solid base to start with, arms extended. Good, and 10 rotations. Nice and smooth. And if you're doing this, make sure you have a partner you can trust to hold on to the band for you. Otherwise, hook it to a rig. Try to stay as still as humanly possible from the waist down. The rotation is coming from your torso. Good. Let's get 3 more. And 2. And last one. And let's flip it. All right, get that good solid base. Knees bent, abs butt turned on, arms straight, chin tucked, and 10 rotations. Everything's coming from the torso, no leg movement. Let's get these last 5. Last 2. 4, and last one, get a good hold over there, and down. All right, we're gonna finish up with some mini band walks. So Kat can sit here on the edge of the bench. So we're gonna take 2 bands. One goes around the knees, one goes around the ankles. So the reason we use 2 bands is that simply when you see people use the mini band walks, they only go around the knees or just the ankles. And what ends up happening is they get carried away and they start to buckle in here. This is not good. You don't want that happening while you're doing it, especially on the bike. You'll see people's knees going in and out. We want to train those glutes. And we want to get us out of moving in this plane, and we want to start moving in our side-to-side plane. So go ahead and stand on up. You're going to come right here to the edge. Shimmy on over. Good. So you want to start with your feet actually inside your shoulders. So go pretty close together, and then make sure your feet are flat, and now try to push your knees out so they're kind of tracking toward your pinky toes. So right now, you should already feel your glutes turn on. Now, don't step too far out. Only go maybe 1-2 inches. And so it's 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. And then don't tilt, act like you're leaning into a wall. So let's take it down to me. 1-2 inches tops. And don't worry, everybody gets carried away here. You start stepping a little bit further. Just take a look down and see where you're at. If your feet are outside your shoulders, then just scoot them back together. You don't have to get big steps here. You automatically start feeling these if you start doing it this way. Keep doing a little check-in. Make sure your knees are pointing out to the side. Nice and smooth. You'll notice she's not tilting at all. She's kind of like leaning to her left a little bit, like she's leaning into a wall. And that keeps us from doing this. Keep going. You got 3 more steps. All right, let's take it back to the right. Looks good, looks good. It sometimes helps if you have like a line either in front of you, behind you, to make sure you're staying on the same line, because you'll start to shimmy forward or shimmy backward depending on what's weaker on you. So just find something if you can, just make sure you go in a nice straight line. Good, looks good. Almost there, 2 more steps. All right, we won't torture her too much, so we're gonna make her go a little bit quicker now, one more time down and back. So let's act like you got a good beat in your head, you're just kind of going boom, in, out, nice and smooth. Her glutes are pretty on fire right now. Looks good, and bring it on back. Good, keeping those feet inside the shoulders, knees are out wide. Good, finish up strong, Catherine. Looks good, and you are done. That's the end of today's workout, guys. I can't stress enough how important it is to incorporate this into your current routine so you develop the strength necessary to keep hitting your bike. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, remember, be strong, be mobile.